Since the broadcast of Mrs. Hamer's presentation was interrupted, we now play for you her testimony in its entirety.
It was the 31st of August, 1962, when 18 of us traveled 26 miles to the county courthouse in Indianola to try to register to become first-class citizens. We were met there by police and highway patrolmen, and they only allowed 2 of us in at a time to take the literacy test. After we had taken this test and was headed back to Ruleville, we was held up by the city police and the state highway patrolman and carried back to Indianola, where the bus driver was charged that day for driving a bus the wrong color. After we had raised the fine among us, we continued on to Ruleville. Reverend Jeff Sonny carried me 4 miles into a rural area, and my children met me there. They said that the plantation owner was angry because I had gone down and tried to register. My husband came. He said the plantation owner was raising Cain because I had gone down and tried to register. And before he quit talking, the plantation owner came. And he said, "Fannie Lou, did you know? Did Pap tell you what I said?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Well, now I mean that. You're going to have to go back down there and withdraw your registration, or you're going to have to leave." Said, "If you go back down there and withdraw your registration," said, "you still might have to leave because we're not ready for that here in Mississippi." And so I answered him and I said, "I didn't go down there to register for you. I went down there to register for myself." And I had to leave that same night. On September the 10th, 16 bullets was fired into the home of Mr. and Mrs. Robert Tucker for me. And that same night, 2 girls in Ruleville were shot. And also, Mr. Joe McDonough's house was shot in. On June the 9th, 1963, I had attended a voter registration workshop, was headed back to Mississippi. 10 of us had traveled on the Continental Trailways bus. When we got to Winona, Mississippi, which is also Montgomery County, 4 of the people wanted to get off and use the restaurant. 2 of the people wanted to use the washroom. 4 of the people that went in to use the restaurant was ordered out. I was still on the bus at the time. But when I looked through the window and saw they was rushed out, I got off the bus to see what had happened. And somebody said that the chief of police and the state highway patrolman had ordered us out. So I got back on the bus. And one of the people from the restroom got back on the bus too. As soon as I was seated, I saw they was getting people and putting them in the state highway patrolman car. So I stepped off the bus to see what had happened. And somebody from inside the car screamed, "Get that one there." And so when I went to try to get in the car, the man who said I was under arrest kicked me. I was carried to the county jail and put in a booking room. They left some of the people in the booking room and they placed some of us in cells. I was placed in a cell with a young woman called Miss Yvesta Simpson. While I was in that cell, I heard horrible licks and screams. And I heard somebody say, "Can you say yes, sir, nigger? Can you say yes, sir?" And she answered and she said, "Yes, I can say yes, sir." "So, well, say it." She said, "I don't know you well enough." And they beat her for I don't know how long. And after a while, I could hear her praying, asking God to have mercy on those people. And after a while, 3 white men came to my cell. One of them was a state highway patrolman. And he asked me where I was from. I said, "Ruleville." And he said, "Well, we're going to find out." And after a while, they left. But they wasn't gone long before they came back. And he said, "Oh, you from Ruleville, all right." And he said a curse word. And he said, "We're going to make you wish you was dead." Well, I was carried to another cell. And there were 2 Negro prisoners. The state highway patrolman gave the blackjack to the first Negro prisoner. And by order of the state highway patrolman, the first Negro prisoner ordered me to lay down on a bunk bed on my face. So I laid down on the bunk bed on my face, and he began to beat until he was exhausted. At this time, I put my hands behind me on my left side because I had suffered from polio when I was 6 years old. And after the first Negro had beat till he was exhausted, the state highway patrolman ordered the second Negro to take the blackjack. And the second Negro took the blackjack, and he began to beat me. And I began to work my feet. And the state highway patrolman ordered the first Negro to sit on my feet so I could not work my feet. And I began to scream. And one white man got up, started beating me in my head, telling me to hush. And one white man, my dress had worked up high, pulled my dress. And I pulled my dress back down. He pulled my dress back up. I pulled my dress back down. All of this on account of we want to register to become first-class citizens. And if the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party is not seated now, I question America. Is this America, land of the free, home of the brave, where we have to sleep with our telephones off the hook because we be threatened daily? Because we want to become decent human beings in America. Thank you.